What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the next episode. A lot of you in the comments have been asking about the tactics I've been using for this season. It's mind blowing that we won every single game in the league this season. So let's run down the tactics that I used and what made it so successful. So the tactical style I do use is a vertical tiki-taka. We do look to dominate possession, relentless pressing, and emphasis on moving the ball vertically rather than side to side. So obviously the mentality in possession, in transition and out of possession is a little bit different. I do customize it for my own liking, but let's go and have a look at it. So with my mentality, I usually start with a cautious, maybe a balance, just depends on who we're going to be playing against. If it is going to be a lower league side and we are heavy favourites, I probably will go to a balanced position. But for most of the season, we did kind of start with cautious, and then if I did want to change it in game, we would change it. When we are in possession, I usually start with attacking with very narrow. I would sometimes change it in game and maybe go to a standard, but it would usually stay on very narrow. For my approach play, I always played out from defence. I would always try and focus down the left or the right. Garmston and Horsfield were fantastic at getting forward, so I would always try and play it to them and get them forward. And what worked so well this season, we've done underlap rather than overlap, and we'd be looking for players that were making runs inside rather than waiting for them to overlap on the outside. My passing directness always started much shorter. I would maybe change it to shorter, maybe standard depending on how the game was played out, but I would always start with much shorter. The tempo was always slightly higher. I would always bring it down if we were in the lead and we were trying to slow the game down. So if we were maybe 1-0 up and we were to see the game out, we would go to either lower or a slightly lower tempo. With time wasting, it was always on. Sometimes when we got to maybe like the 80th minute and we were 1-0 up, we would go to frequently. If we were still there and we were trying to see the game out, we would probably go to whenever possible. For the start of the season, we actually weren't on work ball into the box. We were actually shoot on sight. It was working really well for us in the start of the season when we were scoring absolute screamers. There was a little bit of a lull in the middle of the season where we weren't actually doing too well, or we were scoring less goals. So what I started to do was start working the ball into the box, and it started to work so much better for us. And from there, we just started smashing goals in left, right and centre. And the other thing that we had when we were in possession was be more expressive. Looking at our tactics when we were in transition, when I'd lost possession, we would always regroup. I know with a vertical tiki-taka it is meant to be about pressing, but I felt if we had players back in the positions that they were meant to be in, it would be better for us defensively. But when possession had been won, what we'd done so well this season was countering. We always managed to get the ball up the field quickly and get goals from it. And when the goalkeeper was in possession, we would always distribute to the defence. And we would always try and do it from short kicks. I've always had the mentality where I like playing from the back, so I always like going from defence and moving forward. I'm not really one of those managers that like to kick the ball forward and hopefully one of the players latches onto it. I'd rather we start with the ball and work forward from there. So looking at out of possession, we always had a higher line of engagement and a higher defensive line. The higher line of engagement really worked well with getting forward, making sure that we were pressing and getting on the front foot whenever we got the ball back. It also meant as well that we could get balls over the top and we could get goals from them as well. Having the higher defensive line is a bit of a risk sometimes depending on who your defence is, but luckily I had a very good defence that was pacey, so they were able to get back if need be. If there were balls lobbed over the back, they were able to pick them up. And if there were any players trying to run through, especially with a high line, the players were able to make the yards back. With the defensive width, we would always force opposition outside. We would probably try and change it if we were kind of at the end of the game. We would try and just go standard, try and make them play through the middle. But we would always use tighter marking. We always had the pressing intensity that was more urgent. Whenever we lost the ball, obviously I did want to try and regroup, but we would try and get the ball back urgently. And we would try and prevent short goal kick distribution. With the tackling, I was always staying on the feet. At the start of the season, it was get stuck in, but we did get multiple red cards through Jay Harris, and a couple of others got quite a lot of yellow cards, so we did change it to that. Plus, if you do stay on feet, it does mean that they've got a better opportunity of getting the ball back. If, for instance, they are on get stuck in and they make a slide tackle, that's them out of the game if they do miss it. Whereas if they stay on their feet, they can track back and try and get the ball back. With regard to the roles and duties in the game, we always had Rob Layton on goalkeeper defend. We always had Horsfield on wing back support. We also had Garmston on wing back support. With the instructions, I always had both of them getting further forward and also running wide with the ball. With the centre backs, we just had central defender defend, and they were both set for instructions for dribble less, shoot often, and hold positions. I never really wanted them going forward unless it was for free kicks and set pieces, but you can see they both got a few goals from those positions. In centre mid, I always play with a DLP. I always feel it's vital having a deep line playmaker. I do like having that bit of security where there is a playmaker who does like to get the ball forward, but they are in between defence and midfield holding the balls. I do like having a deep line playmaker. They are a creative player, but they are good at being defensive as well. Because of me playing from the back, the defender will always find my DLP, and from there he can then move the ball forward and get things going. The instructions that I do have on Bo do is ease off tackles, take more risks, shoot less often and hold position. When I play with a DLP, I usually play with a ball winning midfielder as well. Either that or I do sometimes go with a box to box, just depending on who the player is. But in this instance, it was always Harris or it was Mitch Rose. They were always a ball winning midfielder and it was in support role. But I felt this was necessary, especially with a DLP and him being creative. I would have a ball winning midfielder who would get the ball back for me, close down opposition and win the ball. but was also good with this role that they were keeping possession. But this role is also very vital with getting the ball back high up and also getting counter-attacking opportunities. Looking at our attacking players, we will start with Reggie Lam. With Reggie Lam, I always play them as a winger, but I play them in attack. Most of the time I usually play support roles, but I feel like he was a much better player in this position and role. With his instructions, I had cross more often, cross from byline, dribble more, run wide with ball, get further forwards and stay wider. But I have had Reggie Lam on previous saves. He is very good at running past defenders and getting into the final third, hence why he's in the attacking role. With Jordan Davies, we had him as a left winger, we had him in the support role. For his instructions, it was cross more often, dribble more, run wide with the ball and stay wider. With his role, it was a little bit different to Lam's. With Lam, it was getting past the last defender, and he was very good at getting into the final third and trying to get to the byline. With Davies, though, we were just trying to get past our man quickly and then get early crosses in for forwards. Ponticelli was very good in the air, as was Green and Yusuf, so it was vital that we could get balls in early, hence why Davies is on the support role. Looking at our player this season, McGee, we did play McGee as an advanced playmaker support role. Considering he got 21 assists, his role was perfect here. He managed to stay in that hole between their midfield and defence. He looked to get the ball moving forward, finding spaces for attacking players, moving the ball around, getting the opposition tired. But also in this role, he was able to get opportunities for himself, scoring multiple chances and getting great assists as well at the time. And he was always there for the pass if need be, always able to collect the ball and then move the ball forward. With Ponticelli, but it wasn't just Ponticelli, we also had Green and Yusuf up front. We always played with an advanced forward. He is always the focal point of attacking moves and is required to score both goals and create goals, but he was also there to chase down balls, win back possession, and also make opportunities for his teammates. Usually I do like another tactic. We don't actually have one here because we played so well this season. Looking forward, we maybe will for League 2. I do like to have another one just so if we do need to change things up, they are familiar with it. We were very lucky this season that we were playing so well with this tactic, hence why I didn't have to make another one. But guys, if you have any more questions, just let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully it was a little bit more insightful for you. Hopefully you got some tips in there that can help you move forward with your saves. But if you did enjoy the episode, please consider subscribing, liking the video, leaving a comment and hit that notification bell. It is completely free and it would go a long way to growing the channel. But guys, that's my way to go and work on pre-season. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you for the start of League 2. But until next time, stay safe. Appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you next time.